thing, bro. I never told them about no hobos, bro. I'm not in their paperwork or none of that.
A few moments later.
They asked me about the hobo leader, and what happened that day. I told them that I seen them coming out of our building. We was into it. They already know that I did it. A motherfucker already in the paperwork, one of the guys and shit. So they already knew that I was part of that shit.
What's up, what it do? Drill Time TV checking in once again. In the murder trial of fbgduck, Trenches News claim he became an informant when he was arrested by a crooked cop that goes by the name of Ronald Watts more than a decade ago. And he wanted the courts to believe that he went from being a mole, working with Watts, to actually cooperating against him and taking him down. But this is the thing, this can't be found nowhere in court records. So defense attorney saying he made that shit up. Then they hit him with that real documentation like, man, look here. One thing you ain't gonna do is keep playing with us in this courtroom like this here. All we see is these cases you helped out the feds with in 2008 and 2011. Can you speak on this here? He get to getting that. Oh, you already know in 2004 they hit me in the head and almost turned me into a whale. My mind come and go like the wind blow. What he didn't want to speak on at the time was about the information he gave up about the hobos. They end up getting a racketeer.
For days, the FBI searched for Paris Poe. He was armed and dangerous and in Madison. But where? The search heated up Thursday morning when security cameras caught him leaving a Nesbitt Road hotel. He had hitched a ride from Chicago, where he's on parole for violent crimes and wanted for questioning in a gang-related murder investigation. Half a dozen agencies tried to hone in on Poe.
Anyone who's armed and criminal in nature presents a threat, particularly if they feel like they're boxed in somewhere and they don't have any way of getting away. Witnesses last saw Poe outside a West Side grocery store and recovered his sweatshirt there. 6 hours later, police would pull him over on Highway 30 near Fair Oaks Avenue on the east side in a vehicle authorities would not describe. We don't want folks to get so fixated on a single vehicle that we're losing sight of the fact that he could be just about anywhere. Poe was traveling with a woman and had shaved off his trademark dreadlocks, but did not resist arrest, bringing an end to the hunt for Paris Poe.
A violent gang's foothold on crime in Chicago if this case sticks. 9 reputed members charged with multiple counts of murder, robbery, and drug trafficking. Craig Wallace following the story tonight, and he is here with what are really some disturbing details, should they be true, Craig?
Yeah, Robin, absolutely. The suspects are all reputed members of the Hobos street gang. Federal prosecutors say the Hobos gang operated on Chicago's south side, originating out of the old Robert Taylor public housing units before they were torn down. All 9 are charged in a racketeering conspiracy that centers on a pattern of violence and criminal activity between 2004 and 2009.
The racketeering charge outlines a gang which would literally commit any violent crime, up to and including murder, to protect its turf and its operations, and to punish and intimidate its enemies, and to make money.
6 of the 9 defendants are currently in state custody but will soon be handed over to the feds. The remaining 3 are already in a federal lockup. One of the men, Paris Poe, made headlines earlier this year when he fled the state while under investigation for the murder of an FBI informant in 2006.
They had in an article that they said that in the Sun-Times that you had been a paid informant since, I think, 2008 or something like that.
No, 2006.
A massive manhunt led authorities to Madison, Wisconsin, where Poe was captured the following day. Now, the Hobos operated between 51st Street and 47th from Martin Luther King Drive to Vincennes. The defendants are all charged in connection with 5 murders, the solicitation of a 6th murder, along with 4 attempted murders, robberies, and a drug dealing enterprise. They all face at least 20 years and possibly life in prison.
When we can make a case with the U.S. Attorney where these individuals are going to get incredibly strict, strong sentences, I think it sends a very powerful message.
Authorities said they hope this indictment serves as a deterrent, but people we talked to in the neighborhood who knew all of the men charged in the indictment were skeptical that the charges or the sentences would make any difference, although they were afraid to go on camera and tell us about that for fear of retaliation. A community activist hoped, though, that the publicity about the charges in this case might change some attitudes.
It can make a difference in many ways, that if a person is thinking about or going into criminal activity or any organized crime, it gives them a second thought that they better think.
Now, the U.S. Attorney said today that 4 of the men, including Paris Poe, could face a possible death sentence if they are convicted of murder in the aid of racketeering. Robin.
And Craig, the time period covered in the indictment is 2000 up to 2009, but in the last 4 years, I take it that they're not alleging these guys haven't been doing anything wrong as well.
No, they haven't, but the racketeering conspiracy focuses on that time frame, Robin, because that's when the majority of these major crimes were all committed, including the murders and the attempted murders and whatnot. So all this conspiracy was during that time frame. They're not saying that things...
Damn, they wasn't playing out here. Do your homework. At one point in time, the Hobos being labeled the most dangerous gang in Chicago. Hands down. They was known for robbing the robbers and drilling the drillers. But that ain't stopped this man right here from chasing down the leader and throwing hot shit in his direction. Buddy claimed in 07, he got snatched up by the feds and was asked information about the Hobos, specifically the leader. And he said he told the judge, in no fear of an attempted murder charge, that he hawked the leader of the Hobos down, brandished his weapon, and started making his gat talk. Now remind you, he said this all as a CI, confidential informant. So it ain't no mystery when he said he ain't gonna be in the paperwork because informers usually kept a secret. So in return for his testimony, he wouldn't be in any fear of prosecution. By the way, he said he'd close him. He said he gave that little information up, and that was the end of that case. Shout out to a humble soul. He really had him chatting in there and getting more comfortable to opening up about snaking various members in the streets in order to achieve his financial goals monetarily. In this clip I'm about to play, Swipe's supposed to be discussing how he cooperated to take down Ronald Watts, the crooked cop. But instead, he slips up and say he went to the feds and Ronald Watts was already being investigated. That's the moment when he provided that information on the Hobos. Check him out.
Telling me like, man, you might as well go on head on, bro. Just suck that shit up, man, cause you know what I'm saying? He the governor of the low end. That's it. That's what they was calling, like the governor, bro. And shit, I went to the feds, bro. I went to the motherfucking feds, bro. And straight up, bro. And he was already investigated. He was giving drug dealers the drops. He was working with the Hobos, giving them information, telling them who working with law enforcement and everything.
Hit that like button.
On everything. They asked me about the Hobo leader, and what happened that day. I told them that I seen them coming out of our building. We was into it. They told us that we was into it with him, and I chased his ass down and fired him up. You closed the case now. So I closed the case on everything, so nobody else would get into it. They're in trouble for it or none of that.
Man, listen, I'm just glad Gang living his truth and finally came out and letting the world know his life before the internet. He said he been getting to that paper yonder, but when he upped his cash out, the fan said he was 3 stacks in the red, negative 3K. I ain't even know it can get like that. I'm pretty sure he gonna be back like Mike wearing a 4-5 when he catch some of these boys telling their business on live. And if you still conducting criminal activities around him after watching this video, you had a good run, but it's over with now. They coming. You might as well turn yourself in, gang. Everybody working now. Trenches News said the feds got a confidential informant in every hood now.
I don't be worried, bro. Cause half the niggas in the streets who talking, man, they hang with an informant. They hang with a snitch. I could go through the names of the cities and the blocks starting with the low end. Niggas hanging with informants and snitches and that motherfucking thing. Not saying that I'm on some get back shit and I'm trying to point out other people. Not saying that, cause I don't give a fuck. You can call me what you want, you hear me? But I'm saying this shit been going on. It's just selective politicking, bro. It's a lot of older niggas I know in the streets who told everybody know they